almost everybody in this movie loves him. He has like this morale, and he has this clout that he's built up over his career, where whether or not he's he's not selling out Madison Square Garden anymore, but he goes to these little kind of indie circuits, and he's looked up to like as a god. You know what I mean? Like even the first match that they show on camera, the champion comes back and he's talking to him, and you can just see like in that interaction how much he loves Ram. You know what I mean? How much he respects him, and how what they're gonna do when they go out, and he's gonna lose his belt, but he's proud to do that. You know what I mean? So it's pretty interesting.
He knows he doesn't really have a family anymore. The girl, the lady he likes is kind of pushing him away, and he even says, I'm not, other people tell me I'm done, but I'm done when you guys tell me I'm done. You're my family. And I think that's the only sense of kind of, if you would, love that he's felt in his life was when the roar of the crowd. And that's kind of the love that he is kind of, or replacing that with love in his life, or with happiness from family.
Yeah, which that makes sense that he's obviously shouldn't be wrestling anymore. He probably should have retired already, but he keeps going because that's all he really knows. You know what I mean? And you can tell he's like, using steroids to keep up his body image, and just really kind of hurting himself for the fans, and to kind of keep bringing in some kind of income. Like even you see that he lives like in a tiny little trailer, and he gets locked out because he didn't, when the film starts, he forgot to pay his rent, or maybe he doesn't have the money. So you can see that he's barely scraping by, and it sucks because of when they do that montage of the beginning of the film, you can see like that he's accomplished so much, and to have like the bare minimum when you're at the age that he was in the film is it's unfortunate. And so moving into was Pamela or Cassidy, his love interest, who is kind of this exotic dancer, I guess, at this nightclub that he frequents. You can tell that they have chemistry right away, when they're in their first interaction. I think like these group of like frat boy looking dudes are hassling her, and she's just trying to make her money, and they're just calling her old and being really fucked up, and he Randy kind of breaks his way through and talks shit to them, and he's just like, like she's more of a woman than whoever fucking whatever woman you're gonna be marrying. He says something more fucked up, but I'm not gonna say it. But that's your first interaction with him and Cassidy, and I don't know. I'm the layers to this film are very fascinating to me, because you can tell that Cassidy is very much going through, and I'm not sure if you guys thought about this or not, but she's going through the same thing that he is, essentially, just in a different context, where exotic dancers or strippers, what have you, they eventually age out, and that's what's slowly kind of happening to her, as she is a product of the 80s as well, and is struggling with trying to keep this job, and they do a great job of kind of showing you how the men are rejecting her, and she's like just kind of drowning slowly. And I feel like Randy low-key kind of sees that, and he's trying to establish a real relationship with her, and so they can, he doesn't have to be alone, and they can kind of be together, but she's fighting it for one reason or another. She thinks it's unprofessional. She doesn't want to mingle with the clientele, And yeah, it's a very complex relationship there. And then she reveals to him later on that she has a kid, and she, she's like starts kind of self-sabotaging and saying like, you don't want this baggage and yada yada yada, and he's like,
yeah, he's even willing to go along with it. He's like, yeah, I want that. He's like, that's fine, I don't care.
Yeah, he's literally will do anything to be with her. And unfortunately, she realizes this when it's kind of too late.
Yeah.
But moving into Evan Rachel Wood, who doesn't have a lot of screen time in this. I wish she was in this a little bit more, but as his daughter, Stephanie, she fucking is a scene stealer through and through in this. You can feel the pain and going back to the Phoenix Rising documentary, they go into how she had a really rocky kind of upbringing with her parents too, and I feel like that with the relationship that she was in at the time that she filmed this, like all of that pain comes out on screen, and it's haunting, you know what I mean? Like there's a realism there that in the context of watching it now and knowing everything it's incredible. And she did such a good job, and so when going back to Randy, when he goes to see, kind of patch things up with his daughter after he has like a massive heart attack from a hardcore match that he probably should have never agreed to. He gets out of the hospital, and I feel like he realizes that he has like his time isn't guaranteed anymore. So then he wants to kind of establish things and make a life for himself outside of wrestling. So he tries to go and talk to Stephanie and just have her not hate him anymore, and if the first interaction does not go well, he goes to her house, and he's like, I know you're not a fan of me, but I just had a heart attack, and I just wanted you to know, and I want to be close again. And she's just like, you're just telling me this because you want me to take care of you. I hate you. I don't care. I don't care if you had a heart attack. Fuck you. And that's how the first interaction goes. And then he doesn't give up. He actually kind of recruits Cassidy or Pam, and then they end up going shopping to get her a birthday gift, Stephanie a birthday gift, right? And he picks out like this really kind of tacky satin jacket thing, track jacket with an S on it.
He's like, oh yeah, this is nice, got an S on it. It's Stephanie. Real nice.
Yeah. And you can tell Cassidy doesn't have the heart to tell him that it's ugly. So she's like, well, you should get a repeat coat too, because it's winter, it's getting cold, and he's like, yeah, you have a really good point. So they end up buying both, and then Randy goes back to Stephanie and to surprise her with the gift. He gives his gift first, and she's like, yeah, it's really shiny. like not into it at all. And I feel like he at least the way that Randy's acting, he kind of predicted that was going to happen. So he goes, that's not your real gift. This is your real gift. And it's the peacoat that Cassidy had picked out. And then Stephanie's really into that. And then he kind of wins her over, at least for the time being. And they end up going to, I think it's like the boardwalk or something, it looks like.
Yeah, they're her old favorite spot.
Yeah.
That he used to take her to when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm. And he breaks down in front of her, and he's just like, I tried to act like you didn't exist. It hurt. Everything just hurt me. It hurt me too much. You know what I mean? So for a while, I stayed away, but I can't. Like, you're my daughter. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to forget you. and he's crying, and it's this really crazy moment. And, you know, for that, the rest of that interaction, Stephanie brings down her walls and accepts him again. And then he drops her off, and they make plans, I think, for like that following Saturday that they're going to go eat, you know, and have a good time. And he's like really excited. And then because Randy's kind of used to being a lone wolf, he ends up forgetting about that he has plans with his daughter, and, you know, things don't go well with he tries to basically ask Pam to be with him, and she rejects him, so he's upset over that, and he ends up having like this one night stand with this blonde lady who's obsessed with firemen. If you guys
that was weird.
And she's like, yeah, my brother had a poster of you on his wall. And he's like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, I'm still wrestling. And she's like, what? You're still wrestling? You know, and then they do coke in the bathroom and get down or whatever. And and then he wakes up in her bed, and she has like this fireman fetish, which is why I said 5 out of 5 frisky firemen for
oh yeah.
Anybody.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Funny, and then he wakes up and he has like the pants on, or the boots or something.
The boots?
Yeah.
Hilarious. And then, you know, he ends up realizing that he's missed his dinner reservations with his daughter. He goes over there to apologize, and Stephanie just lays into him and says, you know, this is permanently broken. There's no coming back from this. You're a fuck up. That's all you're ever gonna be. Like, get out. You know, like, she's just over him.
Over it.
And specifically that scene, you know, with how I grew up, with my real mom would do that shit all the time. Make empty promises and not show up, or, you know, reschedule to not show up again. And it's something that I've dealt with like for a big majority of my childhood, so I can understand like how it just gets old, and you have to at some point put up your guard and just say enough is enough. Like, my mental health is more important, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and
then you see him when he basically, you know, he quits his job in the meat market. That was a insane scene, and it sucks too, because you could tell that he really was kind of getting in the groove with that job, and actually interacting with customers at a pretty interactive, you know, a pretty cool way.
Yeah, like
he's having a fun time. He's like, "Hey, beautiful, how you doing? What do you want?"
He was making the best of his situation, you know, because so he works. His side hustle is he was working in some kind of supermarket, and his manager is a total dick and makes fun of him for being wrestling on the weekends and what have you. And then once Randy has his massive heart attack, he's gonna chill out on the wrestling. They tell him like, hey, you know, you should stop doing this because next time you might not be so lucky. So then he listens for a while, and he goes back to his manager, and he's like, you know, I need extra hours. Oh, you can only give me weekends? That's fine, you know. And then he's like, well, it's going to be working at the deli counter. And at first he's hesitant, and he's like, you have anything else? And he's like, no, just that, if you're interested. And so he takes it up, and he for a while makes the best out of it. And something that I found out too, which is super interesting, is that that's mostly in him behind the deli counter. Those are real customers, and that is all improv.
No way. That's really?
Yeah, he actually had Rourke like working there doing that, like for real, and he's just filming it.
Yeah, I read about that. That's fucking awesome, especially how well he's helping the customers.
Yeah, where he's like, go long, how about them Cowboys? Like, it's so natural that feels